Dear learners, we will discuss in this session about the qualifications and functions of radio correspondents and some principles of news reporting. In general, the word reporter is very much familiar to the all kind of a people. Reporter means who is works for the any media organization, maybe a newspaper or television or radio. Whereas coming to the radios, we call the radio correspondent in place of a reporter. So, the roles and qualifications, everything as a reporter for the newspaper, as a reporter for the television is same. So, here we will discuss about some qualifications and what are the functions for the radio correspondent. Responsibilities. Professional journalists, whether they work in radio or a print media or television, they are expected to adhere to the basic principles. Those are related to the journalistic values. Journalists should be accountable, balanced and independent. This is applicable to the all kinds of reporters or journalists of the various types of media. Maybe it is a print media or electronic media, maybe social media or digital media. Accountable means where the news is collected for the presentation in the radio. The sources have to be mentioned by the correspondent. Who is telling what point, who is stating the points, the statements, the quotations which should be mentioned in the radio report, means the news report for the radio. Balanced. So, this is a common principle for every journalist, that is applies to the radio journalist also. So, we could not be biased for some parties or some interest of our own to the companies, our own interest to the our relatives. There is our region, our religion. So, there is no point. Should be balanced reporting is a good qualification for the radio correspondent. Independent. Sometimes maybe generally a radio correspondent of AM or FM focus on the AM. There is now we have a public broadcasting agency. Our All India Radio is a public broadcasting agency. There is the reporter is independent. He follows the all codes and guidelines by the regulatory bodies timely. He follows it. So, he be the independent and also he follows the guidelines, the codes of our regulatory bodies. Some skills also required for the radio correspondent. Radio journalist should have the writing, presenting and conducting interview skills. Writing, automatically we know we can write easily. We have to how to write a radio programs we have discussed a little early. While presenting, so sometimes we have to give our sound bites also. Presenting means here a sound bite, sometimes sound bite of the victims, sometimes a sound bite of the expert, sometimes sound bites of our own, means a radio correspondent who has to present the text, the voice in the radio news. So, another important point is to conduct interviews. While conducting interviews, we have to maintain some etiquette to the how to follow some guidelines while going to interview someone. So, interview skills are important. We have to be in time to interview some person based on the appointment time, and we have to focus on the particular subject only. We do not take a much advantage of individual privacy. We have to be focused on the subject only. These skills can be used in a different ways. depending to the kind of program being scripted or presented. Sometimes there is a no script, no print script, no prior script. We have to be act as a in presence, we have to be like spontaneously we have to react with the answers by the interviewer. So that is why we maintain we have to be known all kinds of a general information. We have to be aware about the various sections, various topics, various points in our mind. There is a principles for writing news for radio. Already those are like write short sentences, summarize and prioritize, be conversational, use statistics with clarity, because some statistics will give us a lengthy word. For example, a 5,02,236, instead of this we have to cut it as approximately 5 lakhs. Credibility is also one kind of a principle. While using the numbers and figures, we have to be focused nearest figure, and some quotations, some statements we have to be give as it is. So we will discuss one by one about these principles in detail. While writing a sentence, the journalist must be keeping his mind for writing a television or a newspaper or radio. The first point is short sentence. Take a close look at long complex sentence. Changes are you can break them into 2 or 3 smaller ones. Don't try to pack in a more than one idea per sentence. Grammar also is important here. Broadcast writing should minimize the use of dependent clauses, relative clauses, and some remarks, compound structure. You can almost always come out with a clean sentence by putting the subject first and the verb second. Summarizing, there are less words in radio stories than print stories. Think carefully about what information is essential and which details can be summarized. It is okay to be less formal when you are writing for broadcast. Do that it takes to make your copy easy to listen to someone. Statistics, using of statistics. It is easy to lose your listeners when you put too many numbers in a story. If the precise number is not that important to the story, use words like most, more, relatively few, etc. When you do use numbers, rounded them. For example, in case of a 5 lakhs, the original figure is 4,95,990. You can approximately come to the close number of a big number, that is a 5 lakhs is a good. When you are comparing numbers, try to use a plain language, fraction or a multiple rather than giving 2 numbers. Credibility is another important principle. While doing a commentary or a news, we have to give a picture or a table or attributions who are says that point. Listener will like to have from you that is unbiased picture, because if you are saying that that is the sentence is by the quote of someone or that is a statement by the someone. So attribution is important here. Instead of numbers and figures, we don't be confused, because the listener only heard once only. That is why radio is not the medium for detailed figures and numbers. printed text or online articles are much better for conveying this kind of information. So therefore, it is better to concentrate on just 2 or 3 key figures in radio script instead of giving a number of figures in that news story. But it is not applied to the budget news, whereas it is important, the figures are the important in the budget news and the sports like a cricket board. See, there is a number of figures will appear in that story. So that is depends on the theme and topic. Dear learners, in this session we have learnt about the various principles of a news writing and qualifications, responsibilities of a radio correspondence. Thank you very much for viewing this lesson. Once again, thank you.